The way to happiness and a successful life is live in the present. Murdo MacDonald-Bayne. The present is the only time there is. I have so often spoken to you about this, but I know that the great significance of this truth has not fully dawned upon you. If you are troubled with the past, or if you have fears for the future, you can never be 100% in the present, which is the only time there is. Action can only be done in the present, and action is all that counts. Pure action is living in the present. Some people are always harping about their if had been this or that, things would be better now. It is this if of the past that is preventing the present from being what it should be in your life. Experience is essential to your freedom. Through experience you begin to realize what lies behind the individual. Without experience you would be dormant, asleep in your limitation, yet experience without discernment and continual adjustment in the present is but a repetition of error, and this means frustration. But through continual adjustment, through experience and understanding, there is freedom. Many people rebel against their past experiences, they fight, they struggle and become emotionally upset. This is the way to frustrate the true self in the present, preventing reality from coming forth in the individual. All your experiences are merged into the present when you live in the present now, and all the force of your true nature is present only when you live in the present. For if you live in the past or the future, you live in the illusion of separation, and this means struggle and disappointment. It is the infinite life that is ever present in the individual, and when you become aware of this, all tension, all fear, all sense of wrongs and rights, all hate, jealousies, all things that frustrate the individual in the present is dissolved away. This is truly freedom. The infinite life is expressing itself in the individual in the present always. This is the secret that many people have tried to find, but failed because of conformity to some idea, to some pattern or some system. If you try to conform to some pattern, you are in limitation, and if your pattern is not unfolding, then there is worry, and worry makes your work in the present a failure. How many people in the world have tried to fit their lives into a pattern built up in their own minds? To follow a pattern is to be limited. The infinite mind is complete. There is no limitation, no pattern to fill. It is complete and perfect. In reality, the infinite mind is expressing itself. It has created the finite for the purpose. There is really no finite, for it is the infinite that is existing in the individual, and it is the wearing down of that individual existence in the consciousness. Through discernment and understanding lies the purpose of the individual existence. The small I loses itself in the great I am of life, where there is no separation, no division, no distinction. This at present in your personal state seems to be afar off, but in reality it is an actual fact now. That is why the present is so important, not the past or the future. Any great thing that was ever done by man was done when the mind was concentrated in the present with no other thought or interruption of any kind. This is the infinite self giving expression to itself through the individuals, the vehicle of expression. You cannot separate apart from the whole. Separation exists only in your individual consciousness, and this is the illusion that causes frustration. For if you feel yourself to be only a part seeking to become one with life, the life that is behind all invisible and visible manifestation, if you feel this life is external to the self, then there can never be a cessation of this continuous struggle that you are engaged in. Most people are trying to picture what God is like, then he becomes an image in the mind. When this is so, there is limitation, living in the past and future, living in a mind that is crowded out with events and sorrow, pain, hates, jealousies, frustration. When you get a glimpse of this infinite life, this life in which there is no separation, no sorrow, no pain, no past, no future, no birth, no death, when you can realize this presence of the omnipresence, then there is spontaneous action. You wear away the wall of separation that is in your own consciousness. When there is complete realization of the ever-present, there is no longer any craving, for you are everything. You are creation, and the scar of individuality that was in the consciousness will have vanished. It is this scar of individuality that is in the consciousness that is the cause of all struggle, the cause of all craving, the cause of this separate existence, the cause of fear for the future, fear of memories of the past. The only experience that is retained is that which is pleasing to the infinite, all else dissolves away. There cannot be perfect action in the present when there is a sense of separation. This, all must learn, for it is the way to perfect happiness and success. Perfect action, or pure action I often call it, is the result of the consciousness realizing its oneness with the whole, understanding all external to it, the past or future, so that it becomes aware of the external as the effect and not the cause. The cause is the creativeness within, and this creativeness is not separate from that within the individual. This is often difficult for the students to grasp at first because most of their reactions are made from the external world, not knowing what it is. Individual existence is imperfection, and this individual existence is worn down through understanding and constant adjustment. That is why it is so necessary to put off all theories. If you are caught up in the rights and wrongs, if your mind is engaged in things external to the self, you will never know reality. But if you are only concerned with the present, you will express that which is perfect, for life knows no wrongs or rights, no birth or death, no distinction or separation, no past or future. It is that which is, and I am that. This is why living in the present is the secret of success and happiness. You will readily see that this cannot be reached through theories, cults, creeds, for they are the epitome of separation themselves. So it matters little to you now what appears external to you when the present is realized, because this present is in everything, and what is always present is that which is eternal and the cause behind all manifestation. With this understanding, doubt, worry, fear disappear. The material world is the revelation of the creative power, both grow out of the same source. Visible things are the representation of things invisible, so both come from the same source. When you understand this, you will understand the conditions that surround you, and you will no longer be afraid of them. To realize the great creative law that is ever present, and by conscious use of this law, you can operate upon the universal substance in cooperation with the Creator of all things. This reveals a far greater power than any material possessions external to the self can give. When the material world appears to the onlooker as the reflection of the spiritual world where the idea becomes materialized, the material takes on a greater significance. Where at one time material conveyed only a substance composed of atoms, it now is seen as an intelligence in expression, an intelligence that is ever present and responds in exact proportion in the lives of those who live in the present with the mind free from past or future. This is pure action, an action that is the result of the release of the absolute life expressing itself in man. Then man will see that he is one with the Creator, and with the same process he brings forth into his life and circumstances conditions and things that he desires. But if he fails to understand these things, he will eventually create a series of causes and effects and will be caught up in the illusion of his own separateness and limitation until he finds the truth or the ever-present. Therefore, in the present and not the past or the future lies the happiness and success of every individual. Benediction. O Mighty One, Thou art not separate but one with me eternally. In Thee there is no evil, for the devil cannot exist in Thy omnipresence. It was the king of illusion who sat on the throne of ignorance, was the cause of ill health, unhappiness, and my soul blindness. It was in my deepest moment of despair that I heard Thy voice calling, "Be not afraid, for I am with thee always." Then the light that shone from the beginning of time blotted out all the darkness in my mind. Now I see with clear sight all that hinders Thy expression. I thank Thee, O Mighty One, that Thy light becomes mine forevermore. My peace and my love remain with you. Yours sincerely, 𝗦 MacDonald-Bayne.